Welcome to Data and AI Conversations with Surya. That's me. Here we dive into real stories, insights, and career journeys. So let's get started.
Yes, I can
Hi.
see. Hey.
I just want to thank you so much for agreeing to be my first guest. And this is a lovely experiment, which I hope goes really well. And I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really excited about this. When I heard your idea about this, I was like, we have to do this. This is going to be very successful.
I hope so. And to be honest, like I was kind of like just having that idea in my head and not completely confident of jumping in. So I was like, even the naming, I think you're the one who told me, yes, you have to put your name next to it. It has
Yes.
to be Data and AI Conversations with Surya. I'm like, no.
Yes,
But
it's
yes, but
very
thank you.
exciting. It's very
Yes,
exciting.
definitely.
Starting something new, it's always exciting and scary but it's good. That's good.
Definitely. And I was an ex-lecturer, and always used to tell my students that the most growth happens when you to step out a little bit past your comfort zone. And I can really feel that already. I'm just like, buzzing right now. So,
Ah, yes,
okay. So let me,
you need to take
sorry, go
some
on.
risks sometimes, like
Definitely.
if you always take the easy path, you just don't learn anything. And now you learn so many new things. I mean, you started your own podcast. Like this looks very professional.
I know it's got a fancy overlay and everything. Look at
Yes,
that.
yes.
Okay, so let
Amazing.
me first introduce you to the audience. For those of you who don't know, Valerie is a Microsoft Data Platform MVP, and she's from Netherlands. She's passionate about Power BI, data visualization, data storytelling. You also run your own consultancy for
Yes,
QBI, and you're
yes,
an active speaker. You share your knowledge via conferences, webinars, and on your own YouTube channel.
yes,
And most recently, you have been presenting sessions on Microsoft Fabric, particularly in the real time intelligence section.
yes,
Did I
yes.
miss anything?
Now that's a good introduction of myself. I do a lot.
You do a lot, yes. Uh, so, for those of who might not be familiar, can you give a quick rundown of what Microsoft Fabric is? Because I'm sure most people know Power BI. Fabric
Yeah,
is relatively newer, I suppose.
yeah. Fabric isn't well by now. It's around for
Yeah.
some time. It's like
Mhm.
this whole environment where you can do this amazing stuff from data ingestion to data visualization and everything in between. Like all the things that we did before in different environments are now all at the same place. And I love that because now you you don't need to leave to different websites or stuff. You can all do it in your own environment. It has the same naming conventions. It looks familiar.
Mhm.
And a lot of things are drag and drop, and that's what I love. That's also with the real time intelligence. That's why I got
Mhm.
started with that. I always thought, oh, that's kind of tricky or hard and a lot to learn, and probably I need to know a lot of code. And then I got started, and I was like, oh, that's much more easy than I had
Oh,
imagined.
that's really good to know because I suppose that is one of the things on people who use Power BI because Power BI, am I right in saying that it might be discontinued in a certain way?
No, 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 no. It will
No,
never be discontinued.
it will never
No,
be discontinued. You don't have to transition to Microsoft Fabric.
no, 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 no. You can use it together with all the other things that are available, but
Mhm.
you can also always use Power BI itself. That's I don't think that will ever change because it's such a strong product
Exactly.
itself.
It is a strong
Yes,
product.
yes.
Yeah, I suppose it just gives you the option of using Fabric if you want everything in
Yes,
one place.
yes, yes, yes. So if you want to do it, you can. If you don't want to do it, that's also fine.
Yeah,
That's
cool.
great.
Right. So, how do you see this changing the way businesses approaching data analytics?
I think it will make it easier because up until a few years ago, I think there was this data and data analytics and data engineering. It was really these were these silos. Like you had the IT team and the data team and the BI team and the analytics team, and these were all different people and different departments. And I really think with Fabric and having this one environment, this all gets much more closer to each other. Also, people working closer with each other, but also maybe someone that before only did data analytics now also does some data engineering and has access to, for example, tables and these kind of things. So I guess, or I hope that it will make it easier to work together for different departments. I hope that it will make it not only easier, but also that people can focus more on the really important things, and that's getting value from your data
Mhm.
instead of getting the data. So really actually doing stuff.
That's great. And would you suggest that DP700 is the best way to get started?
Yes, I would. I would. There's
And of course, your YouTube videos as well. So let's
yeah.
give a shout out to that.
Yes. Yes, you can always use my YouTube videos. But I think DP 600 and 700, they're both Microsoft Fabric certificates, and 600
Mhm.
is more about the data analytics part. It's more this overview, and DP
Mhm.
700 is really also for the data engineer.
Right. Okay.
And it gives everyone that wants to learn more about that a good overview, how to get started, how things work. You kind of click through everything that you can click on in Fabric when you learn for this. So
Mhm.
when you prepare for it, you already get a good familiarity with
Familiarity. Yes.
yes, with everything you can do there. And I really, when I prepared for my exam, I thought the documentation that is provided just for free is really good. Like in the past, sometimes I prepared for exams and I really struggled because the documentation wasn't that good. It wasn't like this real experience, these real use cases, and I struggled to understand what's going on. And with this exam, I really had the feeling like the examples are great. Um, Everything they provide, the sandbox environment, it's
Mhm.
just a really good experience.
Oh, that's really good to know. So let's move on to our next section about making connections. So, how did we meet?
Did we meet in Scotland? Did we meet at a
Yes, we
conference?
did. It was at the
Yes,
Data Scotland conference last year. And
yes,
I think it was at the speaker dinner.
yes. That could very well be. Yeah, I know it was Data Scotland. That I remembered. The exact moment.
We didn't meet a lot of people, but I do remember that when I approached you, you were with your mentee. I think you were mentoring
Yeah.
someone for this as
Yes. Yeah.
well. And yeah, and I walked away thinking that, you're such a lovely person, but we did get
Ah,
to. We did get to spend more time after the event because there was a drinks thing later on as well.
yes.
And
Yes.
there is a very funny selfie that is out on LinkedIn of a few of us,
Uh-oh.
uh, which is like, I think I'm not naming names, but I gave the camera to the tallest person, you know who,
Oh, yes.
and I asked him to take a selfie so that all of us can get into it.
Yes.
And he ended up like just having his eyes in the picture with the rest of us in the background. But I loved it. It's a lovely pic. So I'll share it with you again if you don't have it.
Yes, 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 yes. But we had a good time there. And exactly, we met when I was there with my mentee because I'm mentoring people, like first time speakers or people that want to start their own business, these kind of things. Um, and I think that we had pizza. I remember the
Yes,
food we
yes, yes. We had pizza. There were so many types of pizza. I don't think I'd seen that many types of pizza before.
Yes, it's a great conference, and it will be this year too. I think the call for speakers has opened, so that's really
Yes,
nice.
yes, the call for speakers is open already. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and
exciting.
this year they are all also support new speakers again. So new speakers that submit a session, they can say, "I want," or "I would like to have a mentor," and
Cool.
then they will be
Oh, can they
matched.
specifically ask for you? Or is that not?
You can always
I'm gonna call
try.
I'm gonna call DS and say, can everybody get their choice of mentor? I don't think so. But no, but it's definitely a good experience because that's how I started speaking as well, because I had a mentor for the first
Yeah,
event.
yeah,
And yeah, it's definitely worthwhile going through that route.
yeah. Because it's scary, isn't it? First time speaking.
Yes,
It,
it is. It is. And I'm not scared of my speaking ability, but still stepping up to the stage for a big conference is it's just another level.
yes,
And you're
yes.
like, oh, it's nice to know that, there is somebody you can talk to who has done it before and can guide you through it. So definitely,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, because these stages they're indeed very different. Like I did a lot of presentations at the companies I worked for,
Hmm.
um, and I'm really comfortable speaking and presenting stuff. But when I went on stage for the first time, that was a completely new experience because you know almost no one. Maybe some friends
Yeah.
of you are there, but there will be a lot of people that you don't know. You don't know how they will react.
Hmm.
Will they like it?
Hmm.
And especially when you do a session for the first time, you also don't know, will I be able to do it in time?
Hmm.
Um, will I remember everything I wanted to say? You know, all these things. So it's kind of scary. And then it's
Hmm.
good to have someone there that's sitting there and saying, everything's fine. You can do this.
Yes, yes. My mentor was Gabby, and she definitely was like so helpful. And she had so many tips and tricks, like
Yes.
when if you forget stuff or what to do when you just like yeah, great. It was lovely. Right. You do give back a lot to the community. So why did you decide to start contributing and sharing your knowledge?
Well, I love doing that. That's part one.
I know you have to love doing it, isn't it? If you get energized by doing something, you have to go back and do it again.
It's something I always did, like also at the companies I worked, I was
Mhm.
always training the new hires. I was when there was a new tool, I was the one presenting it. And it's
Right.
something I always like to do. And especially about what I'm doing now, like the data analytics, data engineering. When
Hmm.
I started working, I have a really different background. I studied psychology, so I'm actually a psychologist. And
Right.
um, I was always like really excited about statistics and data. But going from a master in psychology to being a data engineer is quite a
Yeah.
step. And when I started, I just tried like this some traineeship, and then people you just get assigned to projects and people, and then you hope that you learn enough. And I was a little bit yeah unlucky at the beginning. I always was in teams where there were really highly skilled people, lots of knowledge, but they never shared how they did
Uh,
it. So I knew there's this possibility. I knew you can do it, but I didn't know how because
mhm,
I, I always saw them doing stuff, and then I asked like, "Why do you do that?" And they were like, "Yeah, because that's the way it is." I
mhm,
was like,
mhm.
I can't learn from that. And I missed that so much. And I learned everything from videos, from reading documentation, from trying things myself, just clicking around. And um, it took many, many years before I really felt confident. And
Mhm.
never knew anyone at the beginning that I could ask, like, am I doing it good or bad? Because
Yeah.
people just didn't react on it. And I was like,
Mhm.
I want this to be different. I want I want to provide information. I don't want to keep everything to myself. I want to share it with people. I want to make everyone smarter. I want to inspire people because I think when we share this knowledge, then we can take the next step. Then we can really
Mhm.
focus on adding value, using the
Mhm.
data to add value to the end user, instead of that we're using all this time figuring out basic stuff. So that's how I got started. I really just want to help people, and I try different ways to do it. I write articles, but articles often take a lot of time,
Yeah.
uh, especially because I always show real examples. If I create something in Power BI and write an article
Mhm.
about it, I actually first create that, take screenshots, then I write the article. I love doing that, but it takes a lot of time, and
Mhm.
time is always an issue. And that's also why I started with videos,
Mhm.
because in my YouTube tutorials, I just create something and I talk about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So that takes out the part of the article where then again I have to write everything and put
Mhm.
in everything on the website, makes it a little bit faster. Um, but still, and that's I prefer articles. Like if you provide me with a video
Yeah,
and an
everything.
article, I always would prefer the article, because then I can read it and I can look at the screenshots step by step.
Mhm.
So I still write them, often a little bit delayed. So there's first the video and then a few months later there's the article. But I know there are also people that really learn a lot from these videos. So they prefer watching someone else doing it and then they see
Mhm.
it, and uh, they learn from that. So
Yeah.
there are different learning styles, and
Yeah.
I provide
Definitely.
information
Yeah.
for both of them.
No, definitely. The learning style, you're giving them some of the options. And I agree, it is a lot more work to actually produce the blog afterwards. Um, okay, this might be a little bit off context, but have you considered using any of the AI tools for creating your blogs from your videos?
I've tried. I've tried some things, like you have from Microsoft Copilot, of course, that I put in the transcripts of my
Mhm.
videos. So I already have the text
Yeah, yeah.
and
You're
put
right.
it in there and ask for, can you give me a good overview for an article? But I have a certain style of writing.
I know it can't replicate that, isn't it? It doesn't sound like you anymore. I
Exactly.
completely agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So I use it sometimes to get a little bit of an overview, like
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
chapters and
Mhm.
some ideas. But in the end, I write it myself. And
Yeah.
if you already did the video, you know what you want to write. It's just
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
investment of writing it.
The time. Yeah. Cool. You actually covered most of my next question, which is like, how did you get started in the world of data? So I
Yeah.
guess we'll just move on to like, do you have any interesting points to share in terms of starting a career in data?
Mm, I think what people often underestimate when starting a career in data is that it's n- not only about the skills. I see this a lot on LinkedIn and other platforms, that people are like, start a career in data, learn this. And then they are like, Python, R, uh,
SQL.
I don't know everything. And I think, yes, these are all great things that you can do, but it's more about what are you really interested in? Like,
Hmm.
are you more a data engineer? Do you want to create these models, the logic behind the architecture, or are you more like front end? Do you want to visualize it? Do you want to sell it? Do you want to really interact with the end user? Um, and these kind of things, like your personal preferences. Because if you're someone that loves being out there talking to people, really go and talk to the end user, look at the best options for them, and the only thing you prepare for is writing code, you will be pretty unhappy, because it will be really tough to get started.
Hmm.
And the other thing is networking and the community. are so important when you get started, because
Mhm.
there's this data community and it's really welcoming and open. People love to share knowledge. Yeah, it's quite easy to get in the community, and I
Mhm.
think it's so important because there you can actually do this check: am I on the right path? What are other
Mhm.
people doing? You can
Mhm.
ask for advice. I When I got started, I was very much not thinking about what I actually want. I started a job and they
Mhm.
told me these are your targets,
Yeah.
and then I just did everything to hit those targets. Um, but then it took me quite some years to think about, what do I want? What am
Mhm.
I working towards? And does that make sense? Does it make sense what I'm doing at the moment? Is it leading me to what I actually want to do?
Mhm.
Like, I built data models for 3 or 4 years, and that's great, but that's not what I want to do for the rest of my life. It's not my passion. It's not where I want to go, because my
Mhm.
passion is in this talking to people, sharing knowledge, helping
Mhm.
my clients to take the next step, these kind of things.
And yeah, and definitely, like it also helps you build some resilience into your career if you're doing not just what the company wants you to do, but exploring outside and seeing what else is available as well, isn't it?
Yes, 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 yes. Because it's also when you work for company,
Mhm.
you see that part.
Narrow path,
Maybe,
yes. You only see
yeah,
that one. Yeah, that's true.
yeah, maybe your company focuses on, I don't know, Power BI
Mhm.
reports, and then everything you're doing are these reports, and maybe they're for finance. So then you have Power BI finance, but
Mhm.
there's this whole world around it, stuff
Mhm.
that you can do that you don't see if you don't look what other people are doing.
Yeah, because you often hear like you don't know what you don't know. That's kind of the thing people say to you. And I'm like, yeah, just go outside and see what else is out there. Then you
Yeah,
will know
yeah,
what is out there. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So the next section is data hot takes. So is there any surprising opinion about data that you have heard? I mean, I think I threw you one when I said, will Power BI go away
yeah,
forever?
yeah. I
Is
get
Fabric
asked
going to
that a
take
lot.
over it?
That's something people really ask a lot. It's also because the when you log in into the online environment,
Hmm.
Power BI service, everything's green now, and you see the Fabric logo. And uh, I get asked that a lot, also by my clients. They're like,
Hmm.
"Oh, is it going?" No, it's not going away. It's just things. Well, everyone's enthusiastic about Fabric,
Yeah.
and I think if you log into the online environment now, they also have a switch at the bottom left where you
Hmm.
can really go to the Power BI environment or the Fabric environment,
Oh, right.
uh,
Okay.
making it much more clear for the end user also where they are. And I think it will never go away. So but it's something I get asked a lot. And something else I get asked a lot is like, will AI take over my job?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I do a lot of design and uh, interfaces, dashboards, reports, these kind of things. And I think almost everyone has seen these videos where you ask AI to create a dashboard, and then you get like a really fancy dashboard, and um, not really something anyone would ever use, but uh,
Yeah.
you get it. And I think some things will change, some basic things. For example, it would be awesome if AI could just create a layout and give some standard ideas of, this is what you could do, and some best practices. And
Mhm.
we put the filters here, we put the KPIs here in this dashboard, these kind of things. But in the end, I always think we are working with other humans,
Mhm.
and they all have different wishes and needs, and um, they often don't know what they want yet. So even if
Yeah. Yeah.
they
You have to
would,
kind of derive it out. Yeah.
yes, yes, and even if you would put that in a chat with
Mm,
an AI bot, um, they still wouldn't know that. You need to get to know them, the processes, you need to talk to them, show them different options, and then really see what they want and test that. And I think
mm,
that can't be replaced.
mm.
So I think there will be improvements, yes, like writing code faster, some basic things, but in the end, you still need the human connection and interaction.
Yep, completely agree. So the next section is insider intel. So what is one essential tip that every data and AI professional should know?
That's a good one. One tip that everyone should know. Never stop learning. Is that a good tip? Don't
Yes. Yes.
rest on your knowledge.
Yeah.
Um, and that's something I see. I trained a lot of new hires at companies, like people they're freshly from school or
Mhm.
university, and they still have this mindset of I take a course, I get a grade, and then that's good
That's it.
forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And in IT and the business intelligence world and the data world, things change so extremely fast.
Mhm.
You can't stop learning. And learning in the data world often is not reading a book, it's actually trying stuff, um, reading the updates. I can say for Power BI and I guess also for Fabric, there's every month an update, like an email that is sent from Microsoft about the newest implementations, what what's new, what's planned, what's in preview, these kind of things. And you really should at least read these things to uh, be up to date. It's the moment you stop learning, you will be behind because it's going so extremely fast.
Yeah. It's just like every every week there seems to be something new that you need to know about, which is why I like listening to like videos and podcasts to give me that, condensed version of it, because sometimes you can't keep up with all the changes
Yeah.
that is happening. So it's much easier to get somebody's version of a condensed format.
Yes, and that's also one of the reasons why I love conferences so much. And I go to a
Exactly.
lot of
Yes.
conferences and speak at them, not just because of the Power BI dashboarding and design part, but I go to a lot of sessions that are completely different from what I'm doing, just to learn, just to see
Hmm.
what's going on, because that's your chance to go to a session. They're mostly 45 minutes or an hour
Hmm.
and hear from an expert what's going on. So I don't have to read all that stuff. I can just go to a session, hear someone else's vision about what's going on, ideas, and learn from that. Even topics that I normally never would
Hmm.
search. Uh, it's just a perfect chance to get an idea of what's going on. And that's actually how I got into real time intelligence,
Hmm.
because I was only in this Power BI field.
Yeah.
And then I was at a conference, I think it was here in the Netherlands, a Data Saturday. And I was also a volunteer. I also volunteer at conferences. So I help
Hmm.
uh, prepping, preparing the location, monitoring sessions. And I actually monitored a session about real time intelligence. And I was sitting there and I was like, this is amazing. And there's also some dashboarding involved. Well, that's a great thing. And then I talked to the speaker. I was like, can you tell me more? Can you send me information?"
Right.
And he was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I can send you everything, and you can find it here, here, and here." And I read it, and I got more and more enthusiastic, and that's how I got started into real time intelligence. And now I have a whole blog series and videos, and I did I think two few weeks ago, I did a series about implementing real-time intelligence um, together with Microsoft,
Oh yes, the
like
reactor one.
the
Yeah.
reactor one. Yes. So that went quite fast, that development.
Now, that's a really good story to share because you've literally shown how it can change the path that you're on, isn't it?
Yes,
And
yes,
finding like key new things that might interest and excite you.
yes. You just get new ideas, and sometimes I see sessions and I'm like, okay, not my cup of tea. But then you
Mhm.
also know that, you know,
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
you only know it if you try it. But for me, that worked out very, very well. Like, I'm a big fan of real-time intelligence now, and if I wouldn't have been at that session, it probably would not have happened. So
Mhm.
really happy about that.
That's great. So, how do you balance it all? Like your work, your life? Like, do you have any hobbies? Is there a way you kind of, completely shut down and recharge for a while?
Yeah, well, I
Because I
I
remember you telling me that, it is a lot of work. It's not something, and you
yes,
can't pretend that it's not.
it
And that's
is
a
a
very
lot of
honest
work.
opinion, which I really appreciated that you did tell
Yeah,
me as well, that
yeah,
maintaining all this does take a lot of work. But how do you recharge?
yes. It is what you say. It is a lot of work, and I'm always very honest about it because
Mhm,
I sometimes people think, oh, these people they write articles and they make these videos and they speak all around the world and they have a full-time job and it's super easy. It's
mhm,
not. It takes a lot of effort. Sometimes I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I start recording videos and then I do my full-time job. And then in the evening, I write some articles. I have some other calls. I get some new ideas. I work on sessions. And sometimes I
mhm,
also do the same in the weekends. And it is a lot. Being able to do this takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of sleep. And it's important to know. It's important to know because it's not super easy. It's not.
mhm,
It's an investment. And how do I recharge? The good thing is I love conferences. I love traveling and I speak all around the world. And
mhm,
for me, going to these conferences is also recharging. Fortunately, I'm not that nervous anymore when I'm presenting. I still have this feeling of, oh, this is exciting, but it's not
mhm.
like I need to prepare 3 days before my session. I know all my sessions. I can just go on stage and present. So for me, being at these conferences, socializing, being in a new country, trying some new food, these kind of things
Mhm.
is also recharging. And I also make sure that I go at least 2 times a year on a diving vacation. I'm a
Oh, nice.
diver. Um, and well, diving is under the water, which is really good. There's no connection to the internet.
That is true. Nobody can trouble you saying, "Oh, my dashboard, something is wrong with it." Nope.
I'm gone.
You're gone.
Yeah.
Literally under this thing.
But that's for me recharging, going diving for a week or 2 weeks, just being on a boat. Um, and the only thing I do is diving, hanging out with people,
Mm,
enjoying the sun. I only dive at really warm places, so it's always good weather. Um, that's my recharging. But being honest, in between, I often have weeks and sometimes even months where I'm just 7 days a week
mhm.
work. It also goes together with having your own company. Uh,
Yes.
it
Yes.
never stops. And it's something I like. If I wouldn't like that, I couldn't do it like
Mhm.
this.
Yeah,
it,
that is true. If
and
you're passionate about it, you just get the drive to do more,
yes,
and
yeah, and I get a lot of energy from things. Like I said, from going to conferences, from traveling. that gives me a
Yeah.
lot of energy. Also, what gives me a lot of energy is feedback I get from people on, for
Yeah.
example, YouTube. All these other things like LinkedIn or my blog, I don't get a lot of feedback from people, but YouTube, people write really comments. And I get comments like, oh, I always want to learn it, but I didn't know how. Or people
Mm.
ask me some additional stuff and I give them a reaction. They're like, now I finally understand it. Um, and that gives back a lot. It's hard to
Yeah.
describe, but
Yeah.
it's this feeling
No,
of,
no, no.
oh, that's why I'm doing it.
Mhm. Definitely. I mean, thank you. Thank you for keeping on sharing everything that you do as well. Okay. The most important question, probably the most divisive now. You ready for it?
Yeah, yeah.
She looks worried now. No. What is your comfort food? Is it a sweet thing or is it a savory thing? I mean, we might just have to go completely different ways if you don't agree with me. So,
My comfort food is cheese, which is very Dutch.
actually, I do remember the big wheels of cheese everywhere in it when I went in. Yeah. So, any
Yeah.
particular cheese or is it just
Uh, doesn't matter. That
doesn't
depends.
matter?
Like we have this really strong cheese with a really strong taste,
Hmm.
um, which I sometimes like, and then we have this more like softer cheese. It depends on how I feel and um, these kind of things. Like we have a lot of cheese for everyone that doesn't or haven't been in the Netherlands. You should try go to one of these cheese shops. You will be amazed how much cheese we have.
Actually, I have been to one of the cheese shops and I bought this little steel thing you could heat up to melt your cheese,
Yeah.
put to go on top of like nachos. And I was like, oh, that is so clever. So that's what I use all the time now. I could go
Yes.
with bigger and bigger versions of that because the amount that I make, but
Yes.
no, it was definitely interesting to see that.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's us almost done. I suppose like we just need to know if you have any announcements about anything that's coming up. We already mentioned that Data Scotland is back this year. So is SQL Bits. Is there anything that you're presenting that you would like to give a shout out to?
Well, currently, like all the sessions in summer and autumn, they aren't confirmed yet. So I don't
Mm.
know where I will be speaking.
So
In
just
some...
follow you on LinkedIn and on your YouTube channel
Yes,
to figure out where
yes,
you are.
yes, yes. And I plan to make some more videos, like more tutorial style videos, in the next month. So they're upcoming. And for everything else, I'm just doing what I do all the time. And like you said, if you follow me on LinkedIn or YouTube, you will see. I will just keep doing what I'm doing.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. And thank you for being my first guest as well. I really appreciate that. And this has been such a wonderful conversation as well.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. And I'm so happy you asked me. I'm still like, this is so exciting.
I think that's what it is like, right? That one connection at a conference, and then you feel like you can approach somebody. I think
Mm.
that's what's missing sometimes when you are only dependent on the technical parts of the job.
Yes.
That
Yes.
you don't. Yeah.
Sometimes you need to meet someone that tells you, go for it. Try
Yes,
it.
definitely.
Just do it. Like, what's the worst that can happen?
That
And
is
I
true.
think at conferences you will meet people like that more often. People
Mm.
that go out of their comfort zone and just try new stuff. And I'm happy you did this. I'm proud of you.
Ah, thank you. Thank you for your support, Valerie. And that's a wrap. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to follow for more and share it with others. See you at the next one. Till then, keep connecting and keep learning.